Welcome to season 22 of the Prep Picks Report. My name is Paul. I'll be your host this evening. However, please, a warm welcome to the other half of the PPR Unplugged, Mr. Bert Grossman. Hey, Bert, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Paul. How are you?
Before we get started, we kind of talked about this just briefly. Alex Smith's comeback. What a significant moment in football history to see him come back. We met his mom over the weekend and talked to her, and we saw it through the lens of a mother. And have you ever experienced anything like that as far as seeing another player come back from an injury of this severity?
I don't recall any sport seeing that severe of injury coming back and playing and playing at this high level. It's amazing. It's unprecedented.
All right, so we're going to have a comeback of the year award trophy that we're going to add to the PPR list because we're going to name it after Alex Smith because what an amazing thing. All right, well, let's get the show started. Our first conversation of the night with some hot air in the cool zone presented by Mozzie Heating, Air, and Solar. Our guest tonight, a member of the Professional Football Hall of Fame and the man who put San Diego State on the map, Mr. Marshall Faulk. Hey, Marshall, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you guys doing?
Super. Now that you're with us, hey, let's talk about what are you doing right now as it relates to financial literacy.
Yeah. Right now, I'm kind of like in the midst of it. Really working hard, just getting all the things that I wish I would have gotten when I was playing. When you're playing ball, you really don't understand all the things and nuances of what goes on around you financially. You're just fixated on being a good ball player. That's all you do, and it's kind of how you transition from college. Think about it. In college, everything is done for you. You go to school, you play ball, and then you kind of come to the league and you do the same things. Well, a lot of the principles of business, of being financially literate and stuff like that, it's what I am now helping young athletes with, helping small business owners with, and creating opportunity just so they understand how their money is working for them.
We're looking at some headlines. Why do so many guys lose the money that they make? What's the biggest cause of that?
Well, lack of education. That's everything. If you want to be a good football player, you have to know your job. You have to understand the ins and outs about it. Well, if you want to retain money and you want to grow money, you have to know the ins and outs about it. You got to know everything. You have to understand your tax situation. You have to understand your tax bracket. There's just so much that you have to know. But for us as athletes, we like making money and we make a lot of it. We like spending money and we spend a lot of it. Why not learn about the thing that you covet the most, which is the resources that you take that's going to allow you to live the life that you want to live when the game is gone?
Marshall, you know what? Enough of this doom and gloom. Thanks, Paul. Hey, what do you cherish most, Marshall, about your days at SDSU?
Oh, man. Literally, the first time that I had the experience of having the crowd call out my name, that was just, I had never felt anything like that. The welcoming of me coming from New Orleans, being a part of this community, going to that school that was the melting pot of all schools for me, and the sense of team and what we were able to do as to fill the Murph campaigns and all the great things we did with Coach Louis Mill here.
Hey, we have Coach Joe Hines, our new CIF commissioner, coming on later. Is it true you rolled up on him and ruined his career?
You know what? It probably happened, man. I was young. It probably happened. All things like that. If it was my fault, I forgot about it. In order to be successful, you have to forget about it. I stored it. I never did it again, but I forgot about it. I moved on.
Marshall, I look at you and I still see 28. I mean, you to me still look like the guy who couldn't be stopped, and yet now your stadium that you played in is being torn down. So what is the passage of time? What does that mean to you, sir?
Literally, it almost seems like we had a couple of guys that are, Aztecs that's in the stadium right now. They played in the stadium and they're giving us tours, letting us see it. And they called me from there, like remembering. This was funny. These two guys that called, when they came on their recruiting trip, they wanted me to remind me that the first time they walked in the stadium was when they saw me play in college. So it was like nostalgia for them. And for me, there's a part of me that's like, man, I hate to see it go, but then I understand what's on the horizon.
Yeah, right.
I understand that what's coming for San Diego State and what that's going to allow us to do with the program, and how now having a home, a place to call our own, that's just awesome, man.
Hey, Marshall, this show's for high school football kids mostly. Give them a taste of what it takes to get to the NFL, let alone the Hall of Fame.
Oh man, dedication, hard work, and that's the norm. That's the norm. But the resiliency to deal with the ups and downs, and I'm not just talking about on the field. I'm talking about off the field, and your character. We all want to keep it real and remain who we are because of where we came from. But for the understanding that you now become an icon who people look up to, and you have to grow up and you have to change. You can't just expect other things about your life to change and you not have that personal growth. So don't just grow on the field, grow off the field as well.
You know, Marshall, we're looking at your highlights right now, a combination of your NFL montage. You were pretty good.
Thank you.
I forgot how good.
I appreciate that.
Marshall, take us back to the day you were inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. The emotion of it. When you see the video of the bus being unveiled, what goes through your mind?
I'll tell you exactly. So people don't understand the decision that you make on where you go to college. Like that's like your first big decision as a young athlete, and that decision can shape and mold everything. I had the worst trip you could ever have coming out here to San Diego State. Flight was delayed, stuck in an airport. Curtis Johnson and I were sitting down talking, but I got to know him. And then worst of worst, when I went back home, my father passed away. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? So everything was pointing to maybe not the bond and the relationship that I had with the guys. Robert Griffith, he was my host. And the other guys that we were around and we spent time with, it was just there was a certain element of this is where I want to be that I had, and trying to remember my recruiting trips. I kept coming back to San Diego. And I was just like, you know what? If they give me the chance to play running back, that's where I'm going.
Wow. We're looking at some of the Hall of Fame video. Hey, I want to thank you for doing this interview because I know Bert butt dialed you 10 times while you were on a holiday, and
he hasn't talked to me since.
Kind of ruined it for us. So, what a gracious gentleman you are, and we'll talk again as the year.
Bert, I just want to explain to you guys and everything. Whenever you take on something new, there's you kind of have to put something old behind you, and everybody wants to talk football, and I've moved on. I'm okay with talking football. I love football. I love watching it, but you have to erase people's mindset of how they see you if you want to do something else. And that's all. It's nothing personal with you, Bert, or anybody that's called and they want me to do podcasts and talk about the Rams or the Aztecs or whatever. I just, I'm trying to grow myself into a financial professional and help people.
Well, that being said, Marshall, I feel very honored that you joined us tonight, and we wish you all the best. Hopefully we can talk financial literacy again in the future, as I don't think that's a topic that's going to be going away any day soon. Hall of Famer, Marshall Faulk on the PPR. Thank you, sir. Have a good day, 28. All right, so we're talking about what else? Are we going to do the last Saturday. This is Silver Pigskin finalist and former Lincoln Hornet Keyshawn Smith getting some playing time as a true freshman at Miami. Yeah, really? Do you think the PPR had him pegged right as the Hurricanes took down?
Well, really, you got to show this game.
Yeah, wipe the Birds alma mater 31-19. And coming up Saturday, tomorrow, a brotherly matchup featuring a pair of big PPR names. The Boise State Broncos take on the Utah State Aggies. 2016 Silver Pigskin finalist Ezekiel Noah is expected to get the start for the Broncos on defense. Meanwhile, 2019 Silver Pigskin finalist Elia Noah will be suiting up for the Aggies at running back. Boy, that's going to be a proud moment for the Noah family. Well, even without football, our PPR crews still find ways to keep us up to date with all the things that are noteworthy in the San Diego high school football community. Let's hear from everyone on the roundtable in a segment we call Bacon Bits. It's sponsored by the Holland RV Center Adventure, and it starts right here. Here's Mr. Brandon Stone.
Guys, the Mountain West is back, and that's great, but did you know the Big Ten is back as well this week? And right now, we have 6 San Diego alumni, you know the big names. Silver Pigskin winner Jack Tuttle, how about Chris Olave of Ohio State? But we've got more. Peter Bowden plays for Wisconsin, Kenyon Sims for Illinois, Big Luca out of LCC is playing for Northwestern, and Amari Cooper is at Rutgers. Maddie, what you got?
Brandon, I have some fun news to share with you. San Diego State kicks off their 2020 season this Saturday, October 24th at Dignity Health Sports Park against UNLV. Now, between the two schools, there are 16 players who played high school football here in San Diego. 14 of those guys are Aztecs. Some notable names like Carson Baker from Helix, 2016 Iron Hog winner Dominic Gudino from Olympian, and Tariq Thompson from St. Augustine. UNLV has 2 San Diegans, Makai Stevenson from Helix and Jackson McCullough from Cathedral Catholic. Now let's toss it over to Nick to see what he has for us.
Thank you, Madison. I want to talk about NAIA. Brad Cagle, former El Capitan Carroll, had himself a week last week. 17 for 23, 247 yards through the air, also threw 3 touchdown passes. On the ground, rushing 11 carries for 77 yards and another touchdown. 4 touchdowns total. He was the NAIA Player of the Week last week. Bo, what do you have?
Team Acossi is hosting a one-of-a-kind event allowing football players to test their skills against the region's best athletes. On November 7th and 8th, players from 7th to 12th grade will be evaluated and possibly rated by 24/7 Sports, competing in individual drills and one-on-ones. You can sign up at firstroundexposure.com to reserve your spot to shine. Now to Nick Polino.
Thanks, Bo. On Wednesday, the Holiday Bowl Committee making the announcement that for the first time in 43 years, there would be no game. San Diego's sole bowl game has served as a great pipeline for our former PPR stars to come home and play in front of their friends and families. Allison, what do you have?
Thank you, Nick. Longtime Mission Bay head football and baseball coach Dennis Pugh passed away in May. Now this memorial sits here in front of the school to honor him. Coach Pugh had started his 31st year as baseball coach here for the Bucks, spending a decade at Cal State San Marcos in between 2 stints here. The legend will be remembered for 1,000 combined victories in football and baseball for the Bucks.
You have for us?
I have, after 22 years, a legend is retiring. Mike Hastings out of Point Loma, multiple CIF appearances and championships, league titles, just a huge loss for that community. I think I might put my hat in for that. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, one of the first stories that we did here on the PPR was Mike Hastings hosting the Benny Edens retirement party for Coach Edens at Point Loma, and now here he is. We've come full circle.
All
Coach,
right.
Congratulations.
It's trivia time. Hold on, Paul. It's trivia time. Here comes Nick Polino with tonight's El Cajon Ford Pigskin trivia question.
For this week's Nobody Beats El Cajon Ford Pigskin trivia question, we head to the gridiron to ask, who was the first high school in San Diego to install an artificial turf field? Your answers are A, La Jolla, B, West Hills, C, Torrey Pines, D, Poway, E, Eastlake. The correct answer is coming up later on in the show, as well as the name of our social media winner who will receive some El Cajon Ford and PPR gear. Make sure to stick around.
All right, it's a jam show. These items and more coming up on PPR Unplugged. Please stay with us. They're driving. Ashbrenner's pass is tipped and intercepted by Kevin Coleman. That is a game-saving interception. Escondido hangs on.
Go to the 4th now, and it's Brian Fiorito. A short punch in right there makes it 21-20, so they go for the 2-point conversion, and Mike Dolan probably wishes he didn't. And check it out. Stopped by Jeremy Brown, Brian Fiorito.
And then more Granite Hills. Well, at least it was going to be. Marino's pass is intercepted by Gary Allen. Monte Vista hangs on. Welcome back to the Prep Picks Report. It's Brandon Stone's job to search through the archives and find a topic of the week that is based on one of my favorite segments of the show, Sounds of the Game. Here's Mr. Stone digging for silver, brought to you by
King Ampamore.
Ampur.
See football. You can smell it. You can taste it sometimes. But what we're focused on in this digging for silver is the sound of it.
Is this the camera?
2018, Sam Marcos, Miles Hastings showing us exactly what it means to be a field general at quarterback.
Get that. Touchdown. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
2017, Moses Mooney, a man who knows how to catch a ball and knows how to call his own number.
I got foot down. Let's put down. Hey, we're going corner post. Touchdown. Hey, guess what? I'm mic'd up.
What?
I'm mic'd up.
Seth Irby of Point Loma, a mountain of a man, but also a king of comedy, as we saw in 2014.
Like, wow, we value you, Seth. We're gonna have you mic'd up. I was like, wow, I feel pretty.
And in 2013, Jake Vermillion wearing the mic for the Madhouse. But when you're a twin, you're really mic'd up for two.
Hey, I bet you I make this tackle. This one's mine. That's mine. No, that's mine.
We can't wait to find out what we get to hear in 2021. Brandon Stone for the Prep Pigskin Report.
Thank you, Brandon. Time to introduce our blue chip athlete, a 3-star recruit out of Patrick Henry. Take a listen to this chat with Guy Jesse.
Give me a little education. What is jet life?
My wide receiver coach at Patrick Henry, Coach Brunt, there's this brand. It's a clothing brand. He came up to me and some of the wide receivers, and he was saying, "It's like, this could be our like little section. This could be our little group." It's always been a thing. Like we open our arms, we score a touchdown. It's just a little thing we do.
Tell me about the different. First of all, what is drip?
I mean, drip's not only football though. Drip could be like it's style basically. So I mean, yeah, there's no different tiers of drip. It's just more like if you have it or you don't.
You have a good bloodline, do you not?
Yeah, my dad in high school, he was a big prospect. He had all the offers in the country. He was a really good basketball player. And then just like me, he played his junior year in football. And he also had offers. My grandpa being in the NFL before that, he got him a spot on the New York Giants. So my dad played for the New York Giants. And then my grandpa, on the other hand, he played in the NFL for about 8 years. He played with the Detroit Lions, the Bills, the Cowboys, and the Rams. It's great having a dad that was even in the NFL, so he already knows what's going on. He already knows everything about it. So,
and what's the best piece of advice your dad's given you?
Just to like stay humble, and they'll look for you. It'll all play out. He hasn't really gave me NFL advice because I'm not there yet. But college advice, they'll find me. So they found me, and then that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at here now.
Well, let's talk about that. You were Patrick Henry, and they found you. Walk us through the recruiting process.
At first, I was kind of iffy about it because I was the first year. It was my first year playing football. So my wide receiver coach, he actually went to the place I committed to. So he got me on with the Lobos. And then JT, of course, has some contacts. So he kind of got my name out there. You guys like posted me on your on PPR and stuff. Of course, highlights. I mean, it just all came together.
Well, we were talking about your family. Tell me about your sisters.
I have one sister. Her name's Braxton Jessie. She's like my ride or die. She's one of my best friend. So she's always supported me and helping me with things. And then I have my other sister. She's the oldest. She has Down syndrome. She's awesome. I love having that type of person in my life, so I can do the things that she can't do and compete at the level that she can't. So I'm glad she's still here to this day. She's always at my games cheering or doing whatever she can. So just looking at her in the stands and being able to have that type of sister in my life is definitely a motivation, and it's an inspiration to do things for her.
In your football career, high school football career is over. Let's fast forward to the spring of 2021 or whatever it's going to be. What do you want people to say about you?
I want people to not remember me just on the field. I want people to remember me off the field, just like friends and you guys is like having like not just Kai's good on the field, but he's also a good person. Just being a good guy to like the community, not just like being known for football.
All right. Well, as we wrap this up, When I was in high school, there was a song called Jesse's Girl.
You know, I wish that I had Jesse's girl.
Rick Springfield, and I was blown away to hear that you're connected to it somehow, or your family's connected to it.
If you hear The View, it's where he gets interviewed, and I guess his best friend, girlfriend, he was making a song for them, and it was supposed to be Gary instead of Jesse. So basically, Rick said it didn't work, and he was wearing my grandfather's football jersey with the JESSIE on the back of it. So he just put it in the song, and it just went off from there.
Did.
That's a good story.
I'd want royalties. Kai, thanks a lot. Great story. Have a safe season when we finally get playing. Hey, Friday nights extend beyond the goalposts, and we here at the PPR do our best to shine a light on those things behind the scenes.
Yes, we do. Here's Madison Sinclair and this week's Squad Up with the Francis Parker Student Athletic Trainer, brought to you by Sprouts Farmers Market.
There's some neoprene shoulder braces. We use these a lot in football.
They may not be the reason why the stands are packed at games, but they are a reason these athletes get to play the game.
The CIF rule is that you have to have a medical professional on the sideline. We're the middleman between the parent and the athlete and the doctor. So I can decipher information for them. I can refer them to the best practitioners.
And at Francis Parker High School, the football team isn't the only team on the field.
They're here to basically learn and assist me. They get to be there when I make those decisions, and they get to understand why I make those decisions.
Learn how athletic training works, how to treat injuries, like management of injuries, also recovery and rehab.
Mainly she teaches us how to do wraps. So like if anyone needs like an ankle wrap, hand and like wrist is like the two main ones that football players need. So a lot of the boys really need like ice. So she teaches us how to make a proper bag of ice and then being able to wrap it on like different parts.
When football returns, the responsibilities of an athletic trainer will be seen in a whole new way.
We're not quite sure. We're still figuring it out. And that puts a lot of risk on athletic trainers. But we also want to make sure everyone's safe. So whatever precautions we need to take, we will.
With so much downtime, do you think there's going to be more injuries or come January when they do step foot on that field for their first game?
Yeah, that's a big risk they're taking because football is a contact sport. You know, at our school, we're doing something, we're calling it Next Level to Answer. It's a strength and conditioning program for everyone building into the season. We want to make sure they're prepared, their bodies are prepared. We need to get them running and sprinting and changing direction, especially with football.
I'm Madison Sinclair for the Prep Pigskin Report.
All right, we're going to take another break. Thank you, Madison. Coming up, we will check in with Commissioner Joe Hines and raise a glass to our Hollandia student athlete. You're watching the Prep Pigskin Report.
Unplugged.
This was a hard game, but next time we got to work a little bit harder.
You know, guys, if you watch PPR every Friday, you might have known a little bit more about that team you just played.
Really?
Oh, yeah. PPR's got everything, from players to coaches. We even got all the best highlights.
You think the other team watched PPR? Maybe that's why they knew so much about the game, man.
Oh, come on. Energy. It's time to welcome CIF Commissioner Joe Hines in a newly titled segment, Hey Joe, how's it going? Brought to you by none other than Bill Howell. Bill Howell, thank you very much. Hey Joe, how you doing?
Great, guys. How are you today?
Mr. Commissioner, I have a question coming to you as it relates to academic eligibility. We're going to come out of this pandemic, or we're going to start playing football again. Grades are going to be in flux. There's going to be some kids who maybe aren't going to be eligible technically. Are we going to have any special waivers or special consideration as we try to get back on our feet academically?
Yeah, good question, Paul. You know, I think a lot of the potential changes that we're looking at taking place were, you know, if we were actually going to start in July, and you know, obviously the impact of spring's closing, you know, last spring, that was, I think, the big concern. But as we've moved into a delayed start, there's been a little relief from the state with regards to probationary periods, which may or may not be part of a district or a school's governing policy. But there is a little flexibility there with a potential probationary period. But aside from that, all of our rules are staying the same, Paul, for the majority here going into our season one here on December 12th.
Hey, Joe, I know Bill Howe Plumbing is sponsoring this segment, but you didn't have to do your Zoom in your shower. That's brilliant. Joe, I got a question for you. I've been seeing stuff on social media about a new 18U South Bay tackle showcase thing. How will that affect the spring if you guys come back?
I know parents are anxious to get their kids going. We all are, Bert, and it's a great question. This is obviously it sounds like a group of parents that are trying to put something together to give opportunity to their kids. It's not sponsored by CIF or any school district. The unfortunate part is right now, obviously, as we all know, that's not even a permissible activity or allowed from the state of California Health Department. So, unfortunately, we couldn't have youth football. We couldn't have Pop Warner, those type of things. We're just getting college football back in line. And ultimately, I just want everyone thinking about those things, again, to make sure we're adhering to those guidelines, because we sure wouldn't want anything to derail us from being able to start on December 12th. And for all sports, all of our kids and everything we're going to do. So again, we're pushing full speed ahead with that and hope it happens. And just wanted to be everyone cognizant that all of our schools and all of our districts are working hard to do everything they can to get the kids ready as well.
Joe, we've had Marshall Faulk on earlier and also talked about Alex Smith, his devastating injury. We found an article in the 1992 LA Times about how Marshall might have ruined your career. I know it wasn't as bad as Alex Smith's injury and he came back, but can you tell us a little bit about that?
You know what? I was just fortunate enough to be able to fall down in front of a couple of guys from Marshall Faulk. Obviously, he was obviously one of the best football players in the history of San Diego State. He put us on the map, put us on the national exposure. I mean, the old Jack Murphy Stadium was full every week because Marshall Faulk brought that forward. Obviously, future Hall of Famer. Should have been a Heisman Trophy winner my senior year. He was best player in college football, hands down. Unfortunately, it was just one of those things that happens in a football game, and by no means was it his fault. It was just a freak thing that happened. But again, one of the best memories for me is just being able to be part of that, be able to block for a guy that you knew. No matter where you were on the field, no matter who you're playing. I mean, at that time we're playing USC, UCLA, Miami every season. As a group of offensive linemen, we knew that guy could go the distance anytime. So it was exciting. It was a great time for Aztec football. Very happy they're able to go back and begin again tomorrow. And we'll send them the best. And Brady Hoke taking over. I know he'll do a great job for Rocky Long. And it's exciting. It's exciting. I heard earlier about all those local San Diego student athletes that are playing. We're excited about it.
Joe, we got to call it an evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Joe Hines, everybody. All right, time to raise a glass of Hollandia milk to this week's featured student athlete. Here's Allison Edmond. Come out to the two-shot. Shining a spotlight on La Costa's Canyon's Jaden Aleutian. Take a listen.
For Jaden Aleutian in football, it was love at first sight.
Football, I learned to love ever since freshman year I started playing. And I've just been working really hard at it, and it's just something I love to do. I'm really hungry for a season, and I know all my teammates are, but that's why we got to keep working hard in practice and in the classroom so we can make everything happen.
And he knows despite wanting to play football at the next level, academics are equally as important.
It's all about finding a balance between everything, but ever since I was younger, I've known I got to work as hard as I can at the books because that's only something that will be beneficial in your life moving forward. With good grades and good study habits, it's super important to have.
But Jaden is still looking for the right fit for him in his next step.
Hopefully the coaches still be open to give opportunities for us because I know a lot of the 21 kids are struggling, but it's just we're really hungry and we got to keep working hard. It's just all motivation seeing the kids getting all these looks. I just know I got to keep working hard, keep my head up, and I'll find a time to shine. But that's what I'm looking to prove that on the field this season. So hopefully we get the chance.
This is Allison Edmonds with the Hollandia Dairy Student Athlete of the Week.
Well done, Allison. Time for another timeout. Beaufort joins us next in a segment we call Faces in New Places. But first, check out PPR Home Life. This is Kevin Luong. It's brought to you by Renovation Realty. We renovate, we sell, you profit.
What's up, y'all? Kevin Luong, senior quarterback at Crawford High School. Today, I'm going to be showing y'all what I do in my everyday life. Let's get into it. The first thing we got to do when we get up, Zoom. And then after my Zoom meetings, homework. Once all my work is done, I play games. Once I'm done playing games, I spend the rest of my time with my little pup. So what's up?
wait till we get back to that. All right, it's time to bring in our South Bay correspondent here on PPR Unplugged in a segment we call
Faces in New Places.
Yeah,
Paul.
Bo chatting with the new head coach of the Hilltop Lancers, Brian Wagner.
Coaching, especially at the high school level, is not about winning or losing. It's about the kid that you're coaching. I'm trying to prepare these athletes through the game of football to go on to do better things in life. I was cut 9 times before I even played the game. And so cut or not asked back by different teams, or I was traded once. I mean, so many things happen in the NFL that I never gave up. Whatever you're doing, no matter if things don't work out, don't give up. Just keep going, do it again.
9 years in the NFL and more than 20 years coaching would be enough for most. But what keeps Brian Wagner coaching?
I guess what keeps me going is be able to pass down some of those lessons on to somebody else. I want somebody in 10 years from now, some guy that I coached in high school, doesn't matter how good they were, but to come back in 10 years and go, hey, Coach, remember what you said about focusing or whatever, that I took that and now I own this business and this and that. So I can't wait to hear a lot of those stories.
Bo Furtick with the Prep Pigskin Report.
Well done, Bo. Time to bring in our Coach of the Week, brought to you by King Amanpour. Here's the Saints head coach of St. Augustine, Joe Cramer. Coach Cramer, how you doing?
Doing well, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Coach, talk a little bit about the Saints program for us.
Saints football program is a program that has a lot of tradition. I'm not the first person to be here that's been part of something special, and I sort of think it's my responsibility to keep it going along with our coaching staff and our players. But our program is very, very detailed. We ask a lot of our players and our coaches. It's a year-round program, just like many places around the county and country for that matter. But we try to be as detailed as possible and run it sort of like a college football program. Very fast tempo practice. We film all our practices with drones. We have very detailed game plans. So it's definitely a all-encompassing program.
Coach, is it fair to say you're held to a higher standard at St. Augustine?
Yes.
Just yes.
Yes.
No, it doesn't need any elaboration.
Yeah. Coach, you played 4 years in the Big Ten at Indiana. It's coming back this week, obviously, Indiana football. Tell us a little bit about your time there and how excited you are to see them this weekend again.
Well, my time at Indiana was an amazing experience. A lot of ups and a lot of downs. I mean, we did not win a whole lot of football games, especially early in my career. I got there in 2003. My head coach was Jerry DiNardo. After my second year, he was fired along with the whole staff. And then Terry Hepner came in from Miami of Ohio and really started getting the program turned around and getting people excited. I was fortunate enough to start my last 2 years. So I had around 24, 25 starts at nose tackle. Again, it was a very difficult experience, but it taught me a lot how to deal with adversity, how to go through something really tough and work through the hard times so that you can have some fun and carry on some of those lessons throughout your life. But my time in Indiana was great. I'm really excited that the Big Ten's coming back this week. Indiana gets to play Penn State, the number 8 team in the country, to start the season. So that should be exciting to watch tomorrow.
Hey, Coach, your defense coordinator, Sean Pomato, often tells me that you modeled your game after me as a defensive lineman and had my poster in your room. Is that true?
Well, I always wished I could be an end. I was a nose. I was an inside guy. Usually they, I think the next stop on the train after nose is O-line, so I worked as hard as I could to stay on the defensive side. But, yeah, Bert, you were a great player, man.
A simple yes would have done well, like the earlier question.
Coach, you cracked me up. Hey, Coach, playing at Indiana, were you also a basketball player, or did you get indoctrinated into the basketball atmosphere on that campus?
I tried to play some intramural basketball, but I was probably I was a high school basketball player. I was pretty good for a high school player. But then when I got to Indiana and in the intramural league, I mean, it's just amazing. You walk in there and everybody can shoot the ball in Indiana. I mean, everybody. You go in there and everybody's making every shot. So I'm just doing what I can because I was playing with a lot of our football teammates, and we had some great basketball players that were football guys for Indiana. But it was a lot of fun, and we almost made it to the championship game. Where you get to play it at Assembly Hall, but we got beat in that semifinal. So it was a lot of fun, but it is a serious basketball state.
Bert's got one last question for you.
Hey, we talked to Joe Hines earlier about grades and what the CIF's going to do in the pandemic. How are you guys going to handle it at Saints? Are you going to leave it up to CIF, or are you guys going to take over?
As far as keeping players eligible?
Well, we're on campus, so we've been so we've been on campus for I think 9 weeks. Social distancing, wearing masks. There's a lot of protocols in place. They've installed all kinds of UV filtration systems throughout our school. We have an algorithm that the administration put together, and they've done a great job where only a certain amount of kids can be in a classroom. So the other kids go to an overflow cohort area that's outside.
Wow.
So we're trying to do what we can, but here at Saints is a very challenging academic environment, and it doesn't really lend itself well to learning on Zoom.
Right.
So we just felt that it was really important to get our kids back here in class, and that's what we've done. And so far, it's gone really well and pretty smooth. So hopefully, that could be a model for more schools reopening.
Coach, we're going to leave it there. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Saints head coach Joe Cramer. We're going to have more PPR coming up. Do not wander off. Hey, welcome back to PPR Unplugged. We have this segment where we call, what does it take? What does it take to make it to the highest level of football? A very small percentage of athletes ever get to do that, like this guy did.
Thank you.
Here's Nick James with our Iron Hog 2012 Iron Hog winner, Scott Quisenberry, asking that very question. What does it take?
Playing Fortnite. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
Scotty Quisenberry, a.k.a. Scooter, won the 2012 Iron Hog Award, which is presented to the best lineman in the county. Former La Costa Canyon standout parlayed that into a scholarship to play for the UCLA Bruins on Saturdays to now playing for the Bolts on Sundays.
I wanted to be a professional football player, as long as I can remember. I think I first said it and spoke it into existence when I was like 6 years old, and I said, that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do. And, lucky enough, and obviously not all of it's luck, a lot of hard work and a lot of long nights, early mornings. I think the best thing though was, my parents at home, they never pushed me to do anything. It's kind of like you do what you want to do and make your own path and, find out who you are. And, if this is what you want to do, we think it could take you a long way, but if you don't want to play football, we're not going to make you.
It wasn't just his parental units that kept him on the straight and narrow. Scooter had several other influences guiding him to a promising future.
I got to high school, and I started getting recruited and stuff like that. Sean, Casey, Dale Henry, all those guys, my coaches, they kind of kept me in check. Like, they coached me just as hard, if not harder than anybody else. And, they expected the most out of me, and they held me to the highest standard, not only on the field, but off the field. So, anytime they would see me, doing this or doing that wasn't really who I was, or they would check me. And I obviously I've thanked them for that. And I really appreciate that. So that way, when I got to college, there was, I wasn't in for a rude awakening like I think some kids are. They get to college and, unfortunately in high school, they were number one guy and coaches loved them and all this stuff, and they could do no wrong.
Quisenberry and his Bolts teammates are off to a 1-4 start, hoping to pick up a much-needed W against Jacksonville on Sunday. Nick James for the Prep Pigskin Reports.
Thank you, Nick. Now, in interest of full transparency, we're going to devote a space on our KUSI.com website on our PPR page that is going to project all the athletes we're talking about that might be at our next Silver Pigskin Gala for a variety of awards, including Silver Pigskin Player of the Year. The list will grow week to week. But let's start the conversation with our National City Mile of Stars, Bert Grossman. Who and what award are you putting him up for?
I'm going to go with Defensive Player of the Year, and I'm going to go out to East County, El Capitan. Austin Lee, this is one of those kids you see that if he was 6 foot, he'd be all over Division I. He's aggressive. I first saw him when we played the game of the week there, and when the other kids were cheering, he's on the iPad looking at the last series. That's the kind of kid you want. Everybody loves him. He's my Defensive Player of the Year pick. Now,
Yeah,
Brandon?
At least as a finalist.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we can't do it. Yeah, of course. Brandon Stone, who do you have for us?
In 2018, Oceanside's Kyron Beecham took home our PPR Offensive Player of the Year award. And 2 years later, I think his brother could take home the whole entire thing. I'm putting Cameron Beecham on the Silver Pigskin watch list. 6'5" wide receiver, great hands, reaches out, reminds me a lot of UC grad and now Denver Bronco, Tim Patrick. Maddie, what you got?
Thanks, B-Stone. Well, this week I'm adding Mr. Eric Trey Russell from Oceanside High School to the Iron Hog watch list, tallying up 59 tackles, 4 sacks, and 9 tackles for a loss. Not only can he hit on the field, but he can also hit the beats.
Your boy, I'm spinning. Your boy, I'm winning. She asked what I want for dinner, and I said chicken, chicken, chicken.
Nick, who's on your list?
Thank you, Madison. This week, underclassman of the year, I'm rolling with 2023 sophomore class Samuel Cooper over at Lincoln High School. Young man, 6'2", 200 pounds. He can run it and he can throw it. I'm looking forward to watching him play this season. They already have Tyler Jensen in the fold, but a great problem for David Dunn to have. You can use him in multiple formations, sort of like the Philadelphia Eagles do with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. So I'm looking forward to seeing Cooper make a lot of plays for the Hive this year. One fellow Spartan over to another. Bo, what do you have up next?
Nick, when we talk about players who can do it all, Montgomery's Jaheim Williams comes to mind as a player who can impact the game in multiple ways. Whether it's offense, defense, or special teams, when the Aztecs need a play, they call on number 5 to get the job done. As a junior, Williams averaged 140 all-purpose yards a game, and because of his versatility, he'll make a run at offense, two-way player, or special teams player of the year. Now to Allison Edmonds.
Thank you, Bo. This week, I'm adding a name to the Underclassmen of the Year watch list, Mission Bay's Clash Orsborn. As just a sophomore, he was starting quarterback for the Bucks with over 2,400 passing yards and 24 passing touchdowns. He was also first team All-City League. Not to mention, he boasts a 4.1 GPA, making him a threat on and off the field. Nick, who do you have?
Thanks, Allison. I have a quarterback to add to the Underclassmen watch list as well. Charlie Meyer out of Cathedral Catholic. Charlie is a 6'6" pro-style quarterback and saw some action last year as an injury replacement for DJ Ralph. He also happens to be the son of Rick Meyer, the second overall pick in the 1993 NFL Draft. Meyer has already picked up an offer from Michigan, and with a similar skill set to his dad, he will be the bluest of blue chippers in the class of 2022.
Now, it's important to note these are just projections. Names will change, some will be added, some will drop off, and Lord knows when we play football again, but when we do, you'll at least know where we started our conversation. It's time for Carroll's Corner coming up, but first, check out the PPR's latest home life. This is Eric Obochawad, brought to you by, once again, Renovation Realty. We renovate, we sell, you profit.
Great. Hey everyone, my name is Eric Obochwa, senior defensive end and defensive tackle and right tackle at Crawford High School, and today I'm going to be showing you what I do on my daily life. First thing first, what I do every day when I wake up, I go to school. What I do next, assignments, homework, gotta turn them in for them credits. After I'm done with school, what I like to do after is go outside and play soccer with my little brothers.
Time to welcome on legendary Oceanside football coach and great friend of the PPR, John Carroll, in a segment we call Carroll's Corner. Coach, topic this week, determine success versus failure.
All right, Coach. I call him the iconic pirate, by the way.
I do.
All right, iconic pirate, pick up the topic, please.
You know, you look at the scoreboard at the end of the game, and we have a clear winner and we have a clear loser, and it says everything that you need to know, except it doesn't. What it doesn't talk about is how well one team played, given their ability or their distractions or whatever it is. So there needs to be, besides winning and losing on a scoreboard, there needs to be what I would call a performance victory, so that the team with inferior talent has a chance to have their own version of success. So it starts with, if you throw away the scoreboard, It starts with the idea that losers can win in performance and winners can lose in performance outside of the scoreboard itself. And that starts with preparing mentally and physically. There's 3 phases to this. Preparing mentally and physically. So this is why it matters. Practice matters. Your preparation for practice matters. Your film work matters. Your study on game plans matters. All of that stuff, your training matters. All of that goes into one of the criteria of being successful. And then after each Friday night, it starts all over again. And here you go through the cycle of the football season preparing. The second one is performing with enthusiasm, passion, and intensity. Now, the player controls this. Okay, it's not the outcome of how good the other team is. The player controls the kind of intensity and passion with which I play the game. And that is catching. So that enthusiasm is caught on to by the players around you, by the sideline itself, and it's its own energy that builds and it increases performance of those around you, including the fans, which can get into the game. And the third one is that all individuals performing to their maximum level of excellence. So it isn't a team's excellence until you have a group of individuals performing excellent. And then when you have that, you have team excellence, which of course gives you a much better chance for success. Now, if you have all 3 of those and you lose the game, in my opinion, you're still a success, and the coach needs to consider that a success and make you feel good. On the flip side of that, if you only have 1 or 2 of those and you win the game, you really shouldn't walk off the field feeling very good. You have something to fix. So victory is not enough. We want success in the preparation, the intensity, and the individual excellence, and then we feel good about victory. Or if we didn't win, maybe it's an ability level, and we can still feel good about our performance. Performance victory counts intrinsically. The scoreboard counts towards records, playoff opportunities, and obviously the newspaper.
Coach, I think we should take this show on the road because I think we could make some money with your coaching series.
And where were you when I was at Hoover? I could have used all that.
All right, Coach Carroll, thank you so much. We'll get back to you next week. It's time for our last break. When we come back, the answer to tonight's El Cajon trivia question. You're watching the PPR Unplugged.
ROTC loves PPR and KUSI. Peace and colors.
Well, let's hand out some PPR and El Cajon Ford gear. Here's Nick Polino with the answer to tonight's El Cajon Ford Pigskin trivia question.
Hey, Nick.
Thanks, guys. How about a quick reminder for tonight's El Cajon Ford Pigskin trivia question? Who was the first high school in San Diego to install an artificial turf field? The correct answer is A, La Jolla.
The Vikings, well, they're always tough on their special artificial surface.
Back when the Vikings' current head coach, Tyler Roach, was a freshman in high school at La Jolla, they installed their first version of a turf field. Our social media winner is Spencer Hochfelder. Check your inbox because we have some PPR and El Cajon Ford gear coming your way.
I think that sound means the show is over. Don't forget the replay is on Saturday at 5 p.m. Our social media deluge, hashtag KUSIPPR, is underway. We will see you next Friday, same pig time, same pig channel, right here on KUSI.
Friday nights are better with a PPR pledge pin. Friday nights are better with a PPR hat. Friday nights are better with a PPR red jacket. Questions?